After a very short wait between the first episode on May the 4th, Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 1 Episode 2 Cut and Run has finally released on Disney+. And it had a pretty major connection to a story that we've all been waiting to have continued ever since that episode of The Clone Wars came out. So I'm going to break down everything that went down in the episode and how it connects to the other Star Wars TV series, films, books and comics. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed for a whole lot more Bad Batch content as the series goes on. To start off the episode, we skip the traditional wartime announcer broadcasts that we had for the first episode and every Clone Wars episode, finally marking that the Clone Wars are over and the galaxy is a whole different place now. Moving straight inside of the Bad Batch's ship, the Havoc Marauder, we get straight back to where we left off last episode, on their way to the J-19 sector, which contains Saleucami. Omega and Wrecker have fallen asleep after getting curious and exploring the ship together, and Hunter and Echo debate what to do with her. Meanwhile, Tech lets the group know that they have finally arrived at the location of their contact on Saleucami. Saleucami is the home of clone deserter Cut Lawquane, and where General Stasser Lee was killed by Commander Neo during Order 66 in Revenge of the Sith, making it a very important place in the aftermath of the Clone Wars. As the group leaves their ship, Omega is stunned and her senses are overwhelmed, as this is the first time she's experienced true nature, as opposed to the sterile white hallways of Kamino. Omega continues to be in awe at the beauty of all the plants, flowers and animals that she's never had the chance to see before. Following this, the group move closer to their contact on the planet, and Wrecker accidentally sets off a trap that he has set at the front of the house, alerting those inside. The trap is literally a set of captured B-1 battle droids, mounted on pikes with their blasters aimed squarely at whoever triggers the trap. Very fitting for the man living inside of the farmstead, who I'm sure you can guess by now. After being alerted, out comes the wife of a certain clone deserter, Sue Lawquane, along with the man so many of us have been waiting to see again, Cut Lawquane. For those of you who don't know his story from the Clone Wars, Cut's gunship was shot down at the first battle of Geonosis, and after watching all of his brothers die and be injured around him, he knew he couldn't fight a single second longer in the war. As a result, he deserted to Saleucami and eventually found a wife named Sue before marrying her and adopting her children, which are half human, half Twi'lek. It's a pretty common misconception, but they are actually not his children, as they would obviously be too old. When we first met them in the Clone Wars, they were already around 7 years old. Meanwhile, the clones had only left Kamino about 2 years before. Now, we did already know that he would be alive, since he and his family are mentioned in the Aftermath novels, but it's awesome to finally get him back on the screen in animation. After this, we move straight into the Lawquane residence, where Cut and his wife are very happy to see two new faces in the group, Echo and Omega, but are concerned when they notice that Crosshair is gone. This confirms that the Bad Batch met Cut long before the Battle of Anaxis and Skako Minor, since they see Echo as a new face, meaning they probably have a pretty long and deep friendship. Cut Lawquane also reveals that Rex did pass through the farmstead literally the day before this, and was rambling on about some behavioral modification program. Omega hears this and immediately knows that he was talking about the inhibitor chips, which is knowledge she would have gained as the medical assistant of Nala Se. This also raises the question of what happened to Cut during Order 66. Did his inhibitor chip and programming activate and require Rex to take it out when he visited, or did the Order never get through to him? I think it's getting more and more clear that the hologram message is not the only way the Order can be activated, and these chips are able to be activated wirelessly by Palpatine without hearing the actual message. But I guess we'll have to wait and see if that's right or not. A few moments later, Cut's adoptive children, Shea and Jack Lawquane, come rushing out and notice Omega, which really gets them excited since they don't get to see many kids around. Omega has probably never had friends around the same age as her, since most of the clones begin their training at a very young age, so she's pretty nervous about following them out into the yard. Shea Lawquane has also definitely had her skin tone change from the Clone Wars, keeping the blue tone around her leku and outer face, but the pinkish colour is now gone and replaced with a grey tone. Jack on the other hand has pretty much kept a very similar skin tone and now has almost full Twi'lek leku instead of the stubby hybrid type ones that he had as a younger child. Eventually, Cut dresses Hunter and Wrecker in some very similar clothing and they go into the town centre, where they make the dark discovery that the Empire's Iron Fist has already slammed down on Saleucami and it's not going to be safe here much longer for the Lawquanes. As we are panning across, we also get a shot of a very common species that is seen throughout the Clone Wars and very commonly on Lothal, the Gotal. These guys are native to the planet Antar 4. The Empire have already started requiring chain codes for both ships and citizens to get off-world, posing a massive challenge for Cut Lawquane and his family. You might remember what a chain code is from a few episodes in The Mandalorian, as well as when Boba Fett proudly displayed his to Din Djarin on Tython. On that chain code were some very awesome details from Boba and Jango's past, which recanonized a lot of content. This is also a possible connection and explanation to why the client didn't have a chain code to give to Din Djarin in Season 1 of The Mandalorian for Grogu. There was probably never a chance to register Grogu under the Empire with an Imperial chain code, because he was probably rescued and pulled to safety too quickly for the Empire to capture him. This may also confirm that it wasn't Palpatine or anyone affiliated with the Empire that took him from the Jedi Temple during Order 66, as they would likely have put a chaincode on him. Following this, Hunter and Cut see a hologram in the town center, with a mysterious Imperial Admiral making his first appearance in the show. This is Imperial Officer Vice Admiral Rampart. We don't really know much about him so far, but considering he already has his own Black Series figure, he's definitely going to be a major figure in the Bad Batch, probably in a similar role to Agent Kallus from Star Wars Rebels. Now, we do have one small hint at what his role might be from the Black Series website, which states that after the fall of the Republic, Vice Admiral Rampart is assigned to oversee the clone troopers on Kamino by Governor Tarkin. This tells us straight away that Tarkin's visit in Episode 1 was simply a sweep and checkup, which means he's probably going around to all major Imperial interests and inspecting them for the Empire. The true villain of the show will probably not be Tarkin, and instead Rampart. Although if he is the one assigned to oversee the clones on Kamino, it's kinda weird that his message is being broadcasted to the citizens of Saleucami. You'd think that the Imperial officer assigned to the J-19 sector would be the one doing this. And since Kamino is not even in the galaxy, I don't think he'd be serving both. Either way, we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds. This just shows you how fast Palpatine was able to implement Imperial-era policies, like flight restrictions between planets, paperwork checks, chain codes, and the immediate transition away from Republic credits. Moving back to the Lquane's farm, Omega ventures too far past the fence to retrieve their lost ball, and is immediately seen by a massive Nexu beast. These guys were first seen in Attack of the Clones, but can also be seen in many of the galaxy's forests. This terrifies the young girl, but thankfully she's brought back to safety with the help of some pinpoint sniping from Saleucami, and Hunter is taught a very valuable lesson about parenting by Cut. After this incident, Hunter doubts himself and doesn't believe that he's the right man to act as a father figure for Omega, offering to give her up to the Lquanes to go and live with them. Following this, Tech and Echo hatch a plan to get their ship impounded so that they can get into the nearby Imperial impound yard and steal some chain codes, which would allow the Lquanes to escape the planet. But when they leave to begin the mission, they don't realize one crucial detail: Omega is still on board. Despite this, they continue on, and Echo manages to break into the chain code kiosk using his arm to hack into the system, stealing enough chain codes for all of them. They are then brought back to the ships where Tech can program them, and after he is done, Omega gets herself into another situation, this time stealing the chain codes and hoping to deliver them to Cut Lquane's family by herself. After some complications, she gets the chain codes to the Lquane family just in the nick of time, and notices that Tech made 5 codes instead of 4. She doesn't yet know that Hunter wants her to leave with Cut and his family, because he still doesn't believe that he can be her father figure and keep her safe. When she finds out, this saddens Omega, as she wants to stay with the Bad Batch because they're just like her, but Hunter holds firm and believes that going with the Lquane family is the best and most safe option for her. Cut and his family successfully have their chain code scanned, and Sue Lquane gives Omega one last chance and asks her one more time if she's ready to escape with them. Given this last chance, Omega decides not to go with them and instead stays with her true family, the Bad Batch, rushing off to find them before they leave the planet. As Cut boards the transport, he's almost discovered as a clone trooper because he obviously shares a face with the clone guards, but luckily for him, the distraction caused by the Bad Batch at the impound is enough to pull them away and leave Cut to board the transport without hassle. This is also the same transport that we see in Star Wars Rebels, the Star Commuter 2000. The shuttle was actually based on the original incarnation of Star Tours, a Disney theme park attraction which some of you might have been lucky enough to visit. After the Bad Batch successfully escapes Saleucami and confirmed that Cut and his family made it out, Wrecker can be seen pressing a gonk droid just like he did in the Clone Wars Season 7. And to end the episode off, we get a touching scene where both Omega and Hunter admit they have a lot to learn, and Omega confirms that she is here to stay. So that is my full breakdown of Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 1 Episode 2 Cut and Run. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe for more Bad Batch content all the way through the series. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.